I'm the Doc, John Macaroon, Detroit Lions, on SI Lone Wolves podcast, made possible thanks to On SI. Was going to come on post game right away, but Brian Branch had to go and throw a punch and get into a skirmish. So we had to put together the content and write that. So thank you for your patience. Let's react. 30-17 loss, not good enough. The Lions all across the board. And look, I'm curious your guys' reaction. Can't be angry because it's the Chiefs, but the Lions did not play as well as they needed to. Dan Campbell set the parameters before the game. He told Dan Miller, we need 30 points. We need 30 points, and we have to play, and we have to count on the defensive line, and we have to count on the offense. It didn't happen. The Chiefs won the battle. The Lions could not overcome the refs. They could not overcome the Chiefs, and they just weren't good enough. They were a step behind. They were the B team, and the Chiefs were the A team. What's your reaction to the loss? Who's to blame? We're going to talk all about it. Look, I'm not angry, but it's disappointing because you recognize that next man up mentality is real. The Lions can compete with the Chiefs, but when you lose that many defensive backs, it's just going to be tough to go to war with Amik Robertson, Rocky Sin, and then you have situations in which Kirby Joseph leaves the game, and it's just really tough. It's just really tough to play the Chiefs. This is not, and also a desperate Chiefs. This is not a team that wanted to go 2-4. You're on the road, and we'll talk all about it. I want to get you guys' reactions. How frustrated were you when they took down? I'm curious. I'm sure the pool report will come out. I'm not in Kansas City, clearly, so I don't know what the rule is. It's going back and forth online. Could the official throw a flag on a motion call or not? Is back and forth. There's evidence for it, against it. So we'll figure out the facts, but it's a situation in which there were hardly any calls, if any, against the Chiefs. Clearly, the Lions weren't on it when, Kelsey had the ball on the ground on the turf. Nobody saw it. They hurried up, and it didn't happen. Shout out to Justin, Full Slate Farms, the 300 people that jumped in early. I appreciate you guys. Let's react. Get your comments in. I'll read some of them. I will be pissed off this whole week because of this game. Justin May, the rapper, why? Full Slate, you understand. Branch is getting suspended. We'll talk about it. What's your reaction? Get your comments in. I'm curious to see what you guys think of this loss. But you started the game great. It went perfectly. It went the way you needed to go. You had the ball for 10 minutes. You had the ball, and you were moving. You were running the ball as you should. Good momentum. Now, you could say that if the Lions would have scored that opening touchdown, that might have carried them to a win. Now, what a beautiful call. Jared Goff has a chance to catch the ball. It wasn't pretty, but it gets into the end zone. And then all of a sudden, there's craziness. And then you guys can tell me what's your interpretation. I see everything. So you guys said, hey, well, you can't really throw a flag after a call. It's a live play. You're supposed to The TV did not seem to go that route. They said they looked at it, and it was a call in. The officials on the field did not call it. Look, in the end, the Lions, by the letter of the rule, Jared Goff, if you want to do the Zapruder film, did not stop. So wait a minute. Does that mean the Doc, not tomorrow, but maybe later in the week, we'll have to ask Dan Campbell? Not tomorrow. Later in the week. So about Dan, I got a question about motion. So Jared, was he in motion? I think I'm going to avoid that one. I have a different question lined up. But they called it. What's your reaction? Were you mad? Did that set off the internet went with, the Chiefs are, bought off by the refs. I saw the Patrick Mahomes kissing the official meme, the pardon my take meme with the official wearing the Chiefs jersey. I saw it all. But, by the letter of the law, based on the rule, it looked like Jared Goff maybe didn't stop or didn't execute the motion the way he needed to. That darn pre-snap motion, maybe they should just stop with pre-snap motion. Maybe they should just stop. Maybe they would just say, John, we know you're fixated on pre-snap motion. We tried to do it with Jared Goff and it didn't work. Can you guess what's in here? H2O, liquid courage. We shall see. But you didn't get the opening touchdown. It's 3-0. And then throughout the game, you started to see the Chiefs get a little bit of momentum. Little by little. How big in your mind was the Amon-Ra drop? I thought it was a momentum killer. Now, to me, to start a game, I love the fact the Lions, I love the fact they took the ball. But it caused a problem. Because now you start the second half and you need to stop and you don't get it. That was a problem. A big problem. Your defense didn't match what would have been expected. But do you blame the injuries? Or do you say, hey, next man up, you got to handle it. You got to handle it. Too bad, so sad. Nobody cares. What's your guys' attitude? What's your frustration level with the loss? What's your instant reaction? I'm curious to see. It's 13-10 at half. You give up 17 in the second half, you only score 7. It's 13-10, and you give up a drive to the Chiefs right away. It's unacceptable. I thought at that point, it did not feel like the Lions were going to be in a situation in which you could overcome all being on the road. Patrick Mahomes was just dealing. He was, getting the ball out. And we're going to talk about it. Get a couple of your reactions in. Shout out to Motown Sports, The Keys to Wisdom, Andrew Jones. Appreciate it. You want your comments in fast? Super chats are open. Make sure that if you just want to sit back and enjoy the show, you don't want to comment, no problems. But join the comments. You'll get some of them read, shared over the internet. But like the stream. There's 500 of you now across 2 platforms. If you're on X, retweet and like. That just helps promote the show for free. And, let's us continue to grow. It's a fun time. And we're going to talk about Brian Branch. We're going to talk about the game. I appreciate it, man. 500 of you, about 300 of you on YouTube, and 200 on 250 on X. That's awesome. Super chats go right to the front of the line. Any questions? Motown Sports. We who are honest knew. Justin's pissed. He's going to be pissed for the whole week. Motown Sports, NFL had it as KC over the Lions. Yeah, they were underdogs. 4th and 1, handed to Monty. 4th and 2, catch the ball, son God. That is up to 18-point difference in 2 plays. Yeah, it didn't feel like the execution was there to the level that you're used to. It's a road game and it's a desperate team. It's a 4-2 Detroit Lions team. How mad are you on a scale of 1 to 10? I feel like I'm at a 4. Like, I kind of wouldn't be surprised because there was injuries. It's the Chiefs. I was watching it. I was just going, because you see so many of these kind of games that don't go your way, you kind of start to feel like, after once Amon-Ra had that drop, you're like, ooh, there are some signs here that this football game might not go the way it needs to go. And I think, to me, and it was interesting too, because, I felt like the play calling from John Morton was good, but not great. Felt like Andy Reid was great. Do you see the offensive play calls? The way in which Mahomes was moving out of the pocket, getting to the guys, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, the way in which the routes in Kelsey, the way in which their speed was just exposing the Lions defense. I felt like we just were missing the explosiveness, the impact. And Dan Campbell said it. So what makes it, to me, like a situation which I'm not reacting so angrily is that Dan Campbell said, we need the defensive line to win. They got to step it up, and we need the offense to score 30. They got to pick it up because we need to score. Dan Campbell knew the number. Actually, he was a little bit short. You need 31. He knew the number to the dot. He said on the radio, we need 30. And it didn't happen. It wasn't going that way. And also, too, there is something to be said where Steve Spagnuolo knows everything about Calvin Shepard. He's the mentor. Calvin Shepard is the mentee. So Spagnuolo is going to have the edge. Give it to Andy Reid. Those two working hand in hand, they were going to know everything about the Lions defense to a T. To a T. Now, I'm curious what you guys think. Is it true factually? Because obviously when the game's going on, I'm writing. Luckily, in most games when I'm tweeting, I don't make too many mistakes, but I only made one mistake, which is I misidentified Mollett covering Kelsey when it was, I said it was Rock Ya-Sin. But that was it. Good tweeting at Detroit Podcast. Thank you for your engagement. And we're going to break it down. And I love it. I love it. 600 of you. Man, that's awesome. You guys got as much energy as me. I love it. I love it. And I'll go. Listen, tomorrow, I don't have to leave my home. So we have a chance to talk if you want. Get your super chats in. Teddy, $1.99 super chat. Humbly, thank you. Carter, spit on Dak. No suspension. Brian will pay. Listen, and I know you guys do this a lot. I don't do that, like, in my opinion. I respect you, Ted. Thank you for the super chat. I don't do that where I go, oh my God, the league, da. Yeah. I felt like when, if you go into a game and the opponent doesn't get no penalties, I mean, that's pretty weird. No penalties? Come on. They never held once? Come on. But I don't do the whole, hey, he did this, let's compare. Brian is on a different track because he's been warned. He's had escalating fines and he hasn't shown the discipline to stop it. There's a problem. Brian Branch has a problem. Humbly, thank you, Ted. You're starting to feel like the league looks differently at the Lions than everybody else. Well, Ted, I have to be honest with you that when you put yourself out there as the kneecap biting crew and you're physical, the league likes it, but it's like the bad boys in Pistons. The league tries to crack down on that. And so the Lions got to find that little avenue of being physical, but not being watched. They're being watched. Brian Branch is being watched. So throwing a punch on national television is crazy. It's crazy to do. He can't turn it off. That's a problem. That's a problem, is that he needs to turn it on the field, but he can't turn it off when the game's over. That's your job. It's not easy. That's your job. The second it hits zero, you got to go back to being a civilian, bro. Especially now when you've got all these escalating fines, I think there's a chance he gets suspended. Motown Sports lost money today in a big golf scramble. Birdie number 1 at Green Oaks. $750 a skin. Oh. That doesn't preclude you. You'll feel better if you super chat us. You'll feel better by donating to a podcaster hanging out at midnight talking Lions, letting you vent. For next time, if you don't do it today, which you should, maybe become a member, which is easy to do here, or drop a super chat. Thomas, yeah, love Brian, but damn, man. Yeah, we'll talk about it. I have a banner for Brian Branch. We'll get to it. How much do you use the injury excuse? I mean, look, Amik Robertson whiffed on a block, but it was a pick. It was a beautiful route. I thought the Lions offensively would play better, but I didn't think the defense would play well. I had the game being 37-34 Lions. So in the end, I knew the defense was going to struggle. And also, too, if you follow my streams, I was on a previous stream where I was telling you live, I'm getting text that Mahomes is salivating, ready to pick apart the Chiefs. The Chiefs quarterback was ready to pick apart the secondary. They were texting me, and I went on a stream, and the guy told me live to my face, he's like, Patrick Mahomes is going to rip y'all a new one. I'm like, come on. And I was joking, having some fun. And he said, Patrick's going to rip on y'all. and they were smiling, they were happy. So I discounted the desperation of the Chiefs and the Lions secondary. I thought Yasin and Amik would play better. But that's the way it goes. Take PayPal. I don't know how it goes. I think it does. I do. That's how I support others through PayPal. So go find the memberships. Thank you, Motown Sports. You can hit become a member or just drop a super chat. Clem Vincent. So nobody's going to blame Juju for running his mouth. This is Detroit. You run your mouth, you get hit. I respect that. Yeah, we're rugged within the parameters of the game, but you're getting fined. And unfortunately, and I'm also getting the videos coming from the Lions locker room. Brian Branch and shout out to Thomas, I believe. Let's see who sent this. Shout out to Mr. Poole sending me the videos. Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph talking. Listen, it goes to show you. I like physical play. I love it. It's rugged. But there's a line. And unfortunately, I understand that. You know what I mean? I understand that, there are times where you want to say something on a podcast where you can't fully say it because you also have partners and advertisers and you're not fully full. I mean, I'm right at the line if you follow me, but there's things you just can't say. You just can't say it. But you still understand that there's a certain spot that you have to go to. And punching somebody, if someone runs their mouth, I think it said here from Mr. Poole here on X that Branch said that he was blocked in the back illegally in front of the refs and he grew frustrated. He said he felt bullied by the Chiefs. And Kirby Joseph had some frustrations as well. You tell me. Actually, go to @Detroit Podcast. I'll retweet both of them. I'll retweet both. You can see Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, their reactions at Detroit Podcast. The great media that traveled, you can see what they shared. And thank you guys. You guys are the best. You guys are always DMing me, giving me information, correcting me if I make a mistake. That's awesome. Thank you. I know you guys are going to love that. So I have proof. It's at Detroit Podcast. You can see the videos. He felt bullied. Get over it. Yeah, it's going to depend now. The reaction is going to depend on if he gets suspended. If he gets suspended, the fans are not going to be happy. You're playing Tampa in Baker Mayfield. You have to you listen. We're going to talk about Brian Branch specifically in about a few minutes here. But let's just put it in this context. Are you concerned? Do you feel like the Lions got to make additional moves at secondary? Thomas Harper got a chance to play, made a pass breakup. Curvy was out there. He came back after leaving. He's going to be battling. He's a grinder. But I think the injuries against a real good team, now you got to be concerned. You need that win against Tampa. 4-3 is not good, especially with the 3-1-1 Packers team. You're right there in the division. It's not as easy. But Monday night coming home, I think, is the perfect elixir. I think injuries are tough, man. You cannot discount them. It's not. It's just it's injuries. It's injuries to Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed, Brian Branch, and Kirby Joseph. They played, but they're battling stuff. They are battling. The injuries caught up to them today. Peter's like, yeah, too bad, so sad. You got to deal with it. He's like, Peter Van Laathoven gets in. Secondary's fine. Brad will never make a trade with anybody that's worth it. 360 Smooth asks a good question. 360 Smooth. Shout out to you. How can the Jaguars beat the Chiefs, but we can't? I can't comprehend this. Different time, different circumstances, different motivation. A hungry Chiefs team. Patrick Mahomes stepped it up. And also, The coaching staff is very familiar with our scheme. Steve Spagnuolo mentored Calvin Shepard, so he knows his tricks. He knows what he thinks, how he's thinking it, how he perceives the game, and Andy Reid's a genius. So how can the Chiefs lose? The Jaguars came in fresh and made some plays late, and the Chiefs made the mistakes. This game, the Chiefs were played clean. I believe the defense is a lot to blame. Yes, Corey. And I think Calvin Shepard will acknowledge that this week. Now, it's a Monday night schedule, so everything's delayed. When I can't share the whole schedule, but the schedule is going to be different than what you're used to because it's a Monday night schedule for the media. So you're going to get your answers later than you would like. But yeah, they didn't stop anything. The defense was not good enough in the second half. How concerned are you about this loss? And you guys are smart. You guys know KC also, for those smooth, they got Worthy. They got their guys back. They got some of their dudes. Thornton is a solid player. They got Kelsey and Mahomes. Listen, that's why, Jared Goff is an amazing quarterback. Okay? Jared Goff is amazing. He, in the parameters of a team sport, when you support him and play well and do what you got to do, he's an amazing quarterback. Mahomes is on just a different level. Mahomes gives you a chance to score and play no matter who's out there. He's transcendental. He just does things. You need a win? Boom, he's out there. Yeah, no, listen, I'll be honest. I'm not being hyperbolic. I don't want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. No, I don't care. I want to see the Bills and somebody else. I don't want to see the Chiefs. Please, God, do not send us the Kansas City Chiefs. Grant Lawn types in on X, what's more worrying is we seem to have a habit of being decimated on defense by injuries. All teams get injuries, but it's a worrying trend. Shout out to you, Grant. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's concerning. These practices are brutal. My goodness, 700 of you? This is amazing. Thank you, guys. This is really nice. You guys are fired up. Me too. But I'm not pissed off because it's Mahomes. I mean, it's basically like, wow, you give respect to the Chiefs for how good they are. And you beat them 2 years ago. So they were coming in. And also, too, I was confident, and I'll say this. And I don't think it has anything big to do with this. But I'm going to say it, and I got to at least talk about it because it's relevant. I don't think the Lions need to be doing this over the internet when you got guys that are injured. Terrion Arnold should not have posted what he did on the internet. Now, I know it's fun and all that, and I love wrestling, but I think he went too far. Oh, I spelled too wrong. I can get that up there. Now, this is what he did. I'm going to go to his X page here. Before the game, I was confident. I was feeling good. And it got probably at 3 million views already. I was like, oh, no, not this. And people were calling him out. I'll go through some of the reactions live. But I was like, no, Terrion, you don't need to be doing that. I get the trash talk. It's fun. You're not playing. But I wonder if it's still there. Oh, 3 million views on X. Wow. 3 million views. Jeez Louise. So before the game, TA went to X. And I love this. If you guys don't know, if you're not, I'm a wrestling fan. I do a wrestling podcast. And if you want to know the other shows I do, I definitely do work on SI, but I also do the Detroit Sports Podcast, Doc and Jock on Thursdays. The Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast comes out on the weekends. This is an ode to Dan Campbell as The Undertaker and Patrick Mahomes as AJ Styles. So if you're a wrestling fan, you know that The Undertaker had his last big-time match, at WrestleMania, but it was a theatrical movie kind of thing, and he fought AJ Styles. So Terrion did this. 3 million views. Let's get a sample of some of the comments. And one of you guys said, take this down. Logan. I love Logan. I see his stuff all the time on X. Look at the reactions. I'll read some of them. Might want to delete this because if we lose tonight, you're going to get clowned without even playing. From Logan. Dog, you didn't even play. What are we doing here? You know, the Detroit Times is going to support everything from Detroit. Ethan, stop it. I kind of like that. You know what I mean? I kind of like you guys like, hey, calm down. I don't need that. Like, I'm sure that I wonder if somebody saw it from the Chiefs. Give them any extra motivation. You don't need to do any of that. I'm just not a fan of that. They're the Chiefs. You do that against the Bears and the Packers. You don't do that against the Chiefs. That's the world champion caliber Kansas City Chiefs. Dan Campbell is not the Undertaker yet. Dan Campbell's getting there. Dan Campbell's like 1988 Undertaker, not the full-on 20-minute entrance Undertaker. 23-0 Undertaker. Don't need to do that. Keep in mind, it's got 3.5 million views. And I'm proud of you. A lot of you Lions fans were like, we don't need to do that yet until you beat him again. Then you fire it up. Then you post it. Then it gets 10 million views. I think he did. Now, why did the Lions lose? Why do you guys think the Lions lost this game? One, the play calling within the parameters was fair, but not excellent. You didn't go deep enough. You got to break. Like they were running, they were running 8 in the box at you. They didn't have no fear of you going deep. They played it right. They had the extra help when needed. They had the bracket coverage. They were not going to let it happen. But sometimes I think you got to force it. Now, it's I know it's tough. You can't force interceptions, but sometimes you got to scheme it to where the receiver can get open. And if it's a 50-yard bomb and something happens, it's like a punt. But you got to kind of loosen the defense. I felt like the Chiefs defense dictated after the first 10-minute drive what was going to happen. They were going to give the Lions some yards, and they started to clamp down better against the run. And Nick Bolton is just better than people give him credit for. A lot of reasons. Shout out to you guys. Super chats coming in. Appreciate it. Ted E with $4.99. Do you think Eagles and Lions will be in the arms race for Denzel Ward, who's only 28? Did you see Kirby's post-game tweets? I'll go right now. Let's read some of them. And I acknowledge if J Curb 25 for those. So yeah, the dog emoji. Looks like they could have flagged Kelsey for the hold on this play. Yeah. Now, arms race for Denzel Ward. The problem is, I think the Lions have kind of made it clear that they view external options as being something that takes so much time. They just do so much work. Maybe. I feel like teams are going to make moves for Njoku and pick apart teams like the Ravens, maybe, and teams that fall off. The Bengals. I just now saw the Kirby Joseph tweets. I am of the opinion the Lions should be aggressive. Yes. But will they get them? That's going to be the key, is the Lions are kind of conservative. And I'm now beaten down because Scott Harris ruined my love of the deadline. But clearly defensive back is going to be an issue. Now, we got to see if it continues against the Bucs and it continues against the Vikings after the bye week. Continue to follow the Lions on SI. We've already declared that the cornerback spot is target number one. If you followed us, I think you do, Ted, you know that a lot of the NFL media as well have targeted the Lions and the secondary as needing help. So let's go. If Denzel Ward, we haven't gotten to the point where we've done our lists, but why not? More. I'm always about upgrading. But I'll start this week within the parameters because the schedule is easier. I'll start to see the scheme fit. And keep following Lions NSI. We'll talk about it as the deadline nears. But I do believe they're going to upgrade. Motown Sports, $5. Thank you. Shout out to you. Man, just a nice comment. Thank you. Number one good dude in Detroit and sports on SI. Man, Motown, that means a lot. It's early. We're having fun. There's almost 800 people in here across 2 platforms. We got the note. I'll read some of it. From Dave Burkett. Can you walk me through the play? There were a lot of moving parts on that play. We had a quarterback go up to the line of scrimmage. He paused momentarily in the quarterback position, didn't get under center, but he walked up and stopped like he was the quarterback. Then he went in motion and they threw the ball to him for a touchdown. If the quarterback assumes the quarterback position and then goes in motion, he then has to stop for a second before they snap the ball. So if he had come to a complete stop after going in motion, it would have been a legal play. That's correct. Now, they did a follow-up. Good question. My understanding is that there was 1 minute and 14 seconds from the time the play ended until when you dropped the flag. Can you walk me through what was the discussion process? The official. It's my job to see if the quarterback stopped initially. The down judge watches the player in motion, and we had to communicate between him, my umpire, and my line judge whether or not he initially stopped at the quarterback spot and then whether he stopped after he went in motion out of my view toward the left-hand side of the field. There was a little bit of confusion in our discussion whether he had stopped or whether he had stopped at the end and what we were talking about. That's why the flag came in so late. What kind of assistance did you have from the replay assistant? We did not have any assistance from Kansas City or New York. So that was just a discussion amongst the crew. That's right. Would the ruling on the play have been different if Goff had been in shotgun? Yes. If he doesn't assume a T quarterback position, then he would not have had to stop. This only applies to a quarterback who has assumed a position as a T quarterback. So, the Lions didn't know the exact details of everything going on with that play. If he was in shotgun, they could have went out and did it, but that's the official. You can go see it at Dave Burkett's X. Man, I really appreciate you guys in the super chat. Motown, I feel like you guys understand me. Those that like me. Those that don't are easily triggered by me because sometimes I poke the bear. So that's what it was. They conferred. The Lions defense was very vanilla, basic zone coverage. It had that feel. Again, shout out to you guys in the super chats. That's really nice to donate to Lions on SI. And all I do is take that and put it right back into the show to advertise, to help out Vito, Christian, Emmett. So you guys know now humbly, I don't take it and put it in my pocket. I put it right back into the show or it goes into the coffers to pay the guys. Shout out Javier. Why did the Lions lose this game? Why did the Lions not win this? Corey Patterson, defense. I don't think they stopped Casey much at all. How much do you blame the officials? Teddy, real fast on a side note. Do you ever get to cover hockey too? Ever seen McDavid live? I have seen McDavid live as a paying customer. The Pistons, Tigers, and Lions have afforded me credentials in the past. The Red Wings have never opened the door. They're probably like Middle Easterns don't like hockey. I've reached out to their PR person. They still ignore me. And so over a couple years, I'm like, well, let's be honest, guys. Hockey doesn't move the needle to where it would be worth the time for me. When you cover the NFL, it's well worth your time. The Tigers, well worth your time. Pistons are okay. Listen, hockey's too niche. I probably could podcast a whole year from my position because I'm not established as the hockey intel. But I love hockey. I love all Detroit sports. I was on Gratiot when they won the cup. The Lions legit, do you believe we're on the terrible side of the officials? I just don't get into all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't blame the officials. I don't think the Lions were good enough. You got to score touchdowns. And Jared Goff, if you're going to do pre-snap motion, you got to stop. He's like, why do I got to stop? So, Dan, I got a question about motion. Did you know that did you know that your quarterback had to stop his motion? Motion. He's going to be like, stop using that word. Stop using that word. Should I ask Dan? So I got a question about motion. I want to know, did you know that if he was in a quarterback shotgun position and not in the T quarterback position? Listen, I had my fun with that. He already laughed. He already made a comment about it. I had my heat. Now, I will ask you this, though, at the end. What would you ask Dan Campbell this week? What do you want to know about? You can leave that in the comments, too. What do you want to know from Dan Campbell? You might get asked. Like Nick P. from the internet says, Dan, I think the Lions should consider trading for a Chris Olave. He gets more volume. Add on the offensive side. I like that. I was thinking the same thing. One offense, one wide receiver, one offensive lineman, one defensive end. I like it. I like your thinking, Nick. Of course. Is it crazy? No penalties? How? So is it real they had no penalties? I'm just saying, how in the hell did the Chiefs play a whole game and not get one single penalty? Yeah, the guy, Mr. Poole, is like, I'm sorry, I'm sending you all this stuff. I'm like, no, I got the Poole report. I got all this stuff. Thank you. Guys, you can send me stuff, within reason. You can send me stuff at any time. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. The AP has some great photos of the fight. Whoa, I'm going to share them. Go check them out. Corey Woods shared some AP photos. Wow. At Detroit Podcast. You can go back and forth. I humbly thank you guys. We've grown 800 people across 2 platforms. This is amazing. Thank you, guys. That's really nice. And thank you to the supporters. And you guys know, too, those of you that get mad at me for the comments that I make to the chat in different shows, just having fun. I always find it funny where it's like, they say, John, you're a fraud. And then I'm like, no, I'm not a fraud. Then they come back and say, how dare you be so mean? I'm like, you're calling me a fraud. But this is nice. 800 people across 2 platforms on a Monday morning. This is nice. Thank you. I like talking. And plus, I'm energized. I feel like I was working and now chilling. And I praise Christian, Vito, and Emmett for running the ship to let me broadcast. It's really cool. Our last story for now will come out in like 1 minute. The studs and duds, and then we will fire it up tomorrow. Starting around 6 or 7. Depends on when I wake up. Why did the Lions lose this game? Hey, that's the guy that's been sending me all the cool stuff. Mr. Poole, $2. Thank you. Yeah, you can send me anything anytime, my man. Thank you. You helped out this broadcast. I shared all the stuff you were sending and retweeted it all. That's really nice. That's really the community nature. And also, too, I can share humbly. That's where sometimes a lot of some information comes to me that is not sourced, then I can go research. Someone will send me, I can't say, hey, this guy sent it, but I'll go, hey, I can dig a little bit when you guys send me stuff. So I appreciate it. Thank you for the $2. Possible Dan benches Branch. No chance he benches Branch. I think Dan's a player's guy. He will get he will work his ass off in practice. I think he's going to face a hefty fine. He already got publicly tongue lashed and said, "Hey, that's inexcusable," and I think he's going to be suspended or he's going to get a big fine. Look at these. I mean, the photos that you sent or Corey sent, that he picked up from the AP, dude. Branch lost his stuff. I'll say this though. On a side note, damn, Branch whooped on him. Whoop, whoop. Now, this is John, not the professional. This is me just enjoying a sip of water, looking at these photos. Actually, here's the best part about this. I'm sorry, it's I'm like a half step slow here because it's 12:30 in the morning. I've been up since 5 a.m. I can share with you guys. Damn, look at that. Woo! Wow. I'm like, oh yeah, I can share this. Thank you again, Mr. Poole, for your support. I always appreciate it. Oh, well, now when these photos get out, Mr. Branch, is that you just like ground and pounding this man? Uh-oh, oops. Like there's cameras everywhere. And these guys got the good cameras too. The good ones. I got one too. I just never use it. I hit the share button. Look at these photos, guys. He's getting suspended. I mean, you darn cameras, you caught the man. He's getting suspended. This is courtesy of Corey Woods, MSW. I praised him for getting his master's degree. Now there's 2 people in the media room with their master's degree. Look at this. I got to blow this up. Look at this. Brian is whooping on this man. I got to zoom it in closer here. Look at that. Listen, we're going to do play-by-play. This is 32, and this is the kicker. The kicker ain't doing nothing for this man. What's the kicker doing? He's like, get up, man. The kicker's like, please stop. Brian, that is unacceptable. The kicker needs to, if you look here at this angle, he needs to be here. Like, he needs to jump further. What are you going to do standing there? Brian look at this right here. Brian got his hands on him, and I think he kind of, this is the photo here that's going to be trouble. This is hand on head pulling right here. What's this kicker doing? What are you doing? Like, you need to be here, like where 10 is. 10 is the teammate. So, what do you think of my photo analysis coverage? Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Whoop, whoop. Ain't playing around. Now, this is lighthearted at 12:30 on a Monday. Damn. Branch has got a problem. He can't turn it off. All right, we'll get to it. They lost because, like Andrew said, the offense didn't execute. The defensive line didn't step up. The goals that Dan Campbell set weren't met. Now, Brian Branch is a solid physical manifestation of what Dan Campbell would want, but there's a growing discipline problem. The idea was he keeps apologizing, and last year he started taking these penalties. Now he is a physical player. He's getting fined. I don't know if he says that he was getting bullied and got some nudges that he didn't like. Well, they always catch the guy that retaliates, and you're supposed to do it on the field. So you got to sometimes wait and bottle it up for next time. Do you think he'll get suspended? Do you think he will be suspended? Do you not care? Do you like the mentality? Now, the issue to me is going to be judged solely on, I like the physicality. I like the entertaining nature of it, to see him whooping on somebody. But the issue at hand is going to be if, it's kind of like, somebody that stands like, in hockey, somebody stands up for somebody. But if you're taking the penalty at the wrong time, like, for example, if something happens to Dylan Larkin, he gets a bad check. Now, if the game's tied 2-2, you don't take the 5-minute misconduct. You don't fight. You wait until you're playing them again and you're winning 4-1. Then you take your stick and whack the guy's ankles. You got to also remember Todd? He went too far. Stick to the head. You guys know. You can fill me in the last name. I forget. Todd. Todd made a boo-boo. Way over the line. And I'm not saying Branch is like that, but he's getting to the point where he's a habitual line stepper. And this one might be to the degree where he's going to cost himself some time. At least it's going to be at least a $50,000 fine. Dude, they got you grabbing the guy. And they got you slapping at him or punching him. We have now at Detroit Podcast footage of the block on Branch. So the story is, there's more information. But on first notice, you still can't do that. Can't be throwing punches. You got to wait. You just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with it. In my opinion. What's your guys' reaction to this? What's your guys' reaction to Brian Branch? Whew. Emmett's a tough grader. Emmett put St. Brown as a dud. Oof. He's got high standards. Based on the standard, you can't drop the ball. Wow. Who was your MVP of this game from the Lions' perspective? Do you give one? Penei Sewell, as always. Studs and duds, who Emmett Metavosky believes shined, is now on the site. That'll be our last written story for today, and then we crank it up tomorrow. Who disappointed you? We'll talk about that as our last topic. I might go 10, 15, 20 more minutes, but the interest keeps growing. I love it. 850 people across 2 platforms. You guys are really nice. Shout out to Corey, Anand, Nick. Thank you. Lions were bullied. Bad play calling, poor game plan. Oh, you're coming in strong for your first time. And I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Is it Anand or Anand? Let me know. I apologize humbly. I'm not the best with names. Trade Branch. He's an overrated knucklehead. That's a little strong. He's got value. He's part of the best safety tandem in the league. He's overrated knucklehead. But and listen, we all know that football players, you have to get into that zone, but you got when it hits 0-0, you got to turn it off. Especially Mahomes is giving you your flowers, reaching his arm out. Shout out to Steve, my man. Just an immature move. Hope you had a good weekend, Steve. It was a good weekend for me, a little bit. Michigan lost. Darn. But we're all in the same boat. There's a unity. Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State. We're all in the unity circle. Penn State fired Franklin, and Michigan State wants to fire Smith, and Michigan fans want to fire Sharon Moore. We're all in a unity circle. Unity. It's nice to see. Yeah, Sharon Moore's not going to last. That's not the standard. Is when you leave, the team plays better and throws the ball, and you come back and you're talking junk about going out west, and your offense stinks. Sharon Moore does. I don't know, what does he do there? It certainly isn't leading the charge for the offensive game plan. Tara gets in. Shout out to you. Really appreciate seeing you. I need to see it. I walked away when it happened. The league will suspend him more than likely. He has a hard time turning it off. Absolutely. Steve's like, I'm not firing more. Yes, you are. He's going to keep losing. He's going to lose the state too. See, the man asking linebackers to do other jobs is egregious and mostly ends in losses. Yeah. It's tough, man. It's a tough job. Coverage against the run, different spots. Yeah, out in coverage. Yeah, the keys to wisdom says 100% suspended. Nick P's got the game plan without Branch. So the secondary is going to be Amik, Kirby, Rock, and Harper against Baker. 4-3 incoming. You're going to have to do some things there. Baker is serious. Yeah, it's going to be the narrative this week is going to be the Lions are overrated and that injuries are taking their toll. The narrative now will be the Packers are the better team and Detroit ain't as good, and you will have to hear the ass kissing KC Fest all week. I don't really care about all that. I like enjoying all that stuff. But look, the reasonable take is the Lions are hurt. They got to get better offensively. That game plan was good, not good enough. The execution was nowhere near the standard. They need to be a little bit more explosive, and they didn't force any turnovers. That's how important it is for that offense. They've won 4 games when they've won the turnover battle. When they've tied or lost the turnover battle, they've lost the 2 games to the Packers and Chiefs. That's how important it is to this team. But the injuries are a killer. And you just got to grow up a little bit, Brian Branch. You got to do it a little bit more on the sly. You can't be punching people after the game. That's where everyone, whoa! I was like, all right, I get to do my live feed, get to bed at 12:30, and then I'm like, no, I gotta get this story written out in the video. I'm like, oh my gosh. Look at Steve. Steve's gonna tell me the narrative I'm gonna write. Steve, you know me. Do I write narratives? Steve. I don't write narratives. I just reflect the truth. I reflect the truth. The narrative is going to be, well, Vito's coming out with a Branch. I'm not going to tell you what side he's going to take. Vito's coming out with a Branch column tomorrow morning. We will have an opinion on Brian Branch. for sure. Vito will come strong, and we'll cover the game. We'll talk about the pool reports. All that fun stuff. No, he doesn't. Vito hates me. No, Vito does not. He's just a busy man. He treats me the same way. I used to talk to him once a day. Now it's like once every 3 days. He edits the site. He goes, "Good job here. Could do this better." Da, da, da. Vito's busy. He's an executive now. He's a bigwig at De La Salle. He's big time. Big time. See the man. Off topic. I feel bad for AG. Yeah, man. Problem is, coaching is different than coordinating. That end of half was terrible. And when you pick Justin Fields, you pick wrong, so long. You picked wrong. You can't. The number one thing that's going to determine your success is quarterback. You pick wrong, so long, baby. I don't know if that's the guy. That guy doesn't understand the quarterback count. 1, 2, throw the ball. That guy's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sitting in the pocket, and then he gets his ass rocked. Every play, every drop back, there's got to be the quarterback clock they got to yell it in his ear. 1, 2, throw the ball. 1, 2, 3, throw the ball. Bro, you don't got the offensive line to do that. It's a mess. The New York media is going to eat Aaron alive. Oh my goodness. This is now 2. Nick P and another. Offer Branch and a second for Max Crosby. Are you guys over Brian Branch that you would include him in a trade? If 2 people send it, that means, correlating that out to, that means some people would be okay with that. Wow. I would think a general annoyance, but not to trade the man. Wow. What do you guys think? What do you think about Nick P? I will decline that, but because I think that Max Crosby is going to get a lot for the open market, but that's valuable. Booner's in the house. What's happening, brother? You're one of the 1,000 people in here. That's awesome. What do you think, Booner? What do you think of the loss? We're talking about Brian Branch. Booner. It's a topic, man. At least 2 have said trade Brian Branch. They're not happy with the man. They feel like he's undisciplined. Branch and a second for Max Crosby. Would you guys do that deal? Thank you, Tara. Love being here with the live crew. Bad game that's going to take a few days to recover. Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. The doc is here to ease your pain and to say you better panic because Baker's coming to town. And Baker's a bad boy. He's a bad man. That man's going to keep that game close. It's going to be a grinded out game. But the Detroit crowd, I think, will keep it going. It's going to be a bad game. Bad man game. That's going to be a badass game. You got to be careful. You're steering 4-3 right in the face. Shout out to Booner. Much love to you. And Booner's got to take. I'm just here to say everyone needs to stop complaining about the refs. The defense got dominated. Offense had 6 rushing yards in the second half and was terrible. Stop making excuses for a bad game. Woo! Yeah, it's a small part. I did like 5-10 minutes on it. But Booner, 0 calls, bro. 0. Come on, bro. That's inequity. Inequity. It's just a loss where the Chiefs' desperation came through and our injuries were impacted how we played and the offense didn't step up. You're absolutely right. It's all of it. No, the refs is a story. 0. I mean, come on, Booner. No NFL team doesn't hold 1 time. You got to just throw 1 for charity. Yeah, I mean, come on. 0 calls is crazy. No, exactly. We all know it's part of it. 0 calls is insane. That's part of the loss, but you go into it knowing that's part of the deal. For sure. I don't have any issue with the way in which the motion thing happened. I feel like it was the right call. Some of you will say, hey, it shouldn't have been called at all. But in the end, I think the Lions tried something without knowing exactly the exact details of how to run it. because it appears that they didn't know that you have to stop. Booner, will Doc, you can debate it tomorrow. Will Doc say, Dan, I got a question about motion. About that Jared Goff motion. Do you think he'll run it again? Do you think Jared knew that he needs to stop? Yeah, exactly. The better team on this day won the game, 100%. But it's concerning because that's another test. And like I said, though, but you know when Reed and Terrion are out there, that also gives credit to the guys that were there. And then tomorrow, I'm curious, not to program your show, I want to know, did you get mad at TA? Don't tell me now. Did you get mad at TA for dropping that wrestling meme that got 3.5, 4 million views? Feel like someone had to give that to Mahomes. He played a little extra sharper. Corey gets in. Well, won't get any better next week because Tampa's better to me. Yeah, it's going to be a knockout, drag-out game. It's going to be like the playoff game. Tampa's legit. And guys, make sure you check out Booner if you don't know who he is. Crunch Time Sports, leading, rising digital sports outlet. They're all over it. Crunch Time Sports. And you can see me, and you can come take shots at me on Wednesday nights if you want. We'll have our debates. It's where all the Michigan Walmarts come to hate on me. But I stand my ground, and I love it that you guys defend me there. It's really nice. A couple of you guys are like, hey, Doc's just, some of you guys even know me like to the point where they know what I'm doing. They're like, Doc is just trolling you guys because he knows you'll write that he's a troll. The Crunch Time crew is easy to piss off. You guys are nicer on a Monday morning than you are on a Wednesday evening. I get it. By Wednesday evening, you're all liquored up and you're tired. You don't want to be nice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew it was fine. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's early in the game. That didn't make a difference. They never went to New York. Yeah, I read it, and someone sent it to me too. So, very interesting type stuff. But scoring a touchdown would have been great to start the game. Might have took some momentum, but the Chiefs were going to be in this game no matter what. Like I said, Steve Spagnuolo was the mentor. The mentor with all the experience was going to know exactly what Calvin Shepard was going to do. And the Lions were depleted. They didn't make the big play, the big interception, the big stop. They just had a hard time with a quarterback in Mahomes that masterfully ran the offense. And Andy Reid's a legend. Nick disagrees with Booner. He's like, I don't know if the Lions got dominated. They were a couple of plays away from this being a different outcome. Yeah, the fourth quarter, you needed a couple stops defensively. You got pushed around a little bit in the second half. You didn't run it as good, and you didn't stop them. It just wasn't good enough. Not good enough. And I think that they will rebound. And guys, I think on the one side, yeah, there's a reason to be concerned because you got the Bucks coming in, but at the same token, the Detroit Lions have shown an ability to rebound. And they're going to clean up their mistakes. I think you'll get a much better offensive performance. You will see some explosive plays. You will start to see a game that turns more in the Lions' favor with calls and everything against the Bucks. But it'll be great. It'll be a knockout, drag-out, playoff vibe. I'm excited for it. Yeah, 7 points is never going to be enough. Look, for a road game, Dan Campbell laid it out. Again, it was pretty straightforward. I'm going to be here for about another 7 minutes. Guys, thank you. Get your super chats in if you got any questions. Just a quick preview of the week. We will ask about if Davenport, if Rodriguez's clock's going to start. We will find out some information. You will potentially, just this week, have to figure out how to manage the secondary. Good thing is you might get 20 snaps out of Aleem this week. You might get 20, 25 out of Aleem. That's going to be a big boost. Mentally, emotionally. And thank you guys. Smash the like button, please. There's 900 of you. Wow. Across 2 platforms. That's really nice. On a Monday morning after a loss. That's really cool. Smash that like button for me. Hit the retweet if you're watching on X. Steve, with a good question. I get that quite a bit. Why don't you live stream your podcast on Twitch? I'm not a gamer. I don't have a Twitch account. And at this point, I'm on so many different platforms. YouTube, X are the big ones. You get big returns. I am putting shorts up on YouTube and TikTok. It's just way too many. YouTube, X. I'm on Threads posting stories. I'm on Blue Sky posting the stories. Luckily, I have a way to get it kind of all out in the same spot. But come on, Steve. Let's go with, let's say, is this not enough? Well, I'll say for me personally, it's enough. YouTube, TikTok, X, Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky. 6 is enough to get the message across worldwide. I think it's good, Steve. I cannot do Twitch. Because the gamers maybe get high and then come and tell me things I didn't say. It is still around. I don't know if people use it. I don't check the analytics on who's coming from where because the numbers are pretty good. It's still around. People are still liking it. See, the man, you're exactly right. Why don't the Lions mix up and go deep several times? Because look, there's the idea that if the safety help is over the top and they're bracketed, you don't want to throw into coverage because it's going to result in a turnover. And Spagnuolo took away our threat. Simple as that. He had the coverage in a great spot for the Chiefs. That's a smart strategy. But then you have to actually execute and score touchdowns. And the Lions, at certain times, I'm thinking Tate Ratledge is not going to get a good grade for this game. Let up a couple. I don't think he'll be graded that well. So, does this change your mind about Terrion Arnold? I actually have to, because I said, did he go too far? I got to give him love on this one. Did you change your mind about Terrion? He's not there. They lost. Look, Rocky Sin's good, but he's not DJ Reed. He's not. Oh, see, it's late. Did you change your mind? Look, on this side road. Oh, my goodness. Did you change your mind about Terrion? He's valuable. The defense got worse without him. I have not changed my mind to the degree that I still think he's got to get better, but he needs to play better when he's out there, but he's a valuable piece to that defense. You're not as good without him. You just aren't. Sorry. You need him. I would say that I'm comfortable with Amik Robertson and Terrion Arnold. But Rocky Sin is a good, valuable vet, but in a role player spot. You don't typically win when role players are starters. It's just the way it goes. It's just, especially on the road against a Super Bowl caliber team. Now, do you want to still see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl for revenge with a healthy Lions team? No, I don't care. I don't have that big ego with the Lions. I don't care because whenever a team has Patrick Mahomes, you're always scared. I don't care. Key moments of this football game, you didn't execute. That 3-and-out was in the fourth quarter was death knell. It was it. Over. Nick P. Terrion is better than Rock. I want Reed and Arnold back with Snead or Ward. Nick P's right on. Oh, Nick still wants the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are easier to beat than Buffalo. You know, I'm a little bit different because I feel like Josh Allen's a gunslinger. That first time for him might be overwhelming. The pressure for him is a little bit different than the pressure for Goff. Goff's been there. He's already taken the loss. And are we catching the Buccaneers at a right time with Ibuka dealing with a hammy? Let's see. Huh. Do you guys forgive Terrion Arnold at this point in time? You say, wow, well, without him, it's a little different. Smash that like button. All right, your last chance for any questions, your super chats. Thank you guys. Join, become a member. Doing 1 or 2 member exclusive videos a week where you get the videos before I upload them to the world. Thank you to the nearly 24 members that have signed up in like the last 2 weeks. That's really nice. A lot of ways to support, but the easiest way is smash that like button. Subscribe. Go to Detroit Sports Podcast, subscribe, get the podcast. Steve has been a day one member. Not just Ibuka, Evans, Godwin, and Irving, too. Yeah, they're dealing with a lot, too. For sure. Steve C's been down since 2013. No, my kids are not Taylor Swift hardcore. They like it. They're down. They're actually into sports more than music, Steve, which is really cool. My daughter had soccer today. The other one's in volleyball. It's kind of cool. All right. Last 5 minutes here. Any last second thoughts? Why did the Lions lose this game? 1, the Chiefs out executed. 2, your defense was not to the standard where you were making impactful plays that resulted in turnovers. You didn't get the stops needed. Far too many. The Chiefs got into rhythm and they got open. They were able to handle it far better than you were. And that's just a fact. Mahomes was one of the great players on the field. He found his guys and they scored touchdowns. Yeah, some of you guys are like you never were off the Arnold bandwagon. Jay Meltz gets in. I don't need to forgive TA because I understand he's a young guy that's working on his consistency. Steve, yeah, a couple times I actually did. I met a couple fans at Ford Field. I made the walk, took a couple photos. Yeah, I'm very approachable. A lot of people have said, "Hey, I'm in town. I'm at this place. Da da da. I'd love to have a chance to meet you." That's really nice. It's really nice to see that people understand that the trash talking is just for fun. That the real guy, approachable, normal, not performative. The funny part is the most sensitive people are the ones that throw the haymakers. The ones that are like, "You're a fraud." And I'm like, "How am I a fraud? I've been employed for 15 years." And they're like, "Oh, he's such a egomaniac." Yeah, okay. They're like, they don't even know the rules. The rules are the content is 1 hour of football and 5 minutes to myself. Am I not allowed 5 minutes? Being that I grew up with Howard Stern, listen, trolls are trolls, and I like give them attention because it's funny. Because they're so wrong that it's just funny. It's just so wrong. You're an egomaniac. They don't know. They just don't know. They just want to glom on to a couple things I say. But yeah, a couple times. And then at training camp, every other practice or so, someone was shouting out Doc. It was cool. They just be like, "Doc." But and plus, it's funny is that I know it's not funny anymore. But when you're a psychologist, you know how to I know how to troll people. It's too easy. It's easy for me because I'm a master of human emotion. So how would I be described in the sports world is I would be like the Chauncey. Basically, I'm the Chauncey Gardner Johnson, but the guy that's always getting the interception, but then dancing and talking about it sometimes. But Chauncey's a cool dude off the field. Yeah. And they're like, you talk about yourself too much. Well, why not? What else am I going to talk about? We got football. I talk football 5 hours a week. I can't get 15 minutes. Yeah. See, Corey knows. Can we please throw the ball down the field? I know. It's just tough because there's a little bit of a risk aversion and they don't want it to turn over and it's not within the parameter of the offense. If you, especially when you got the game plan this week was to run the ball because the Chiefs were terrible against the run. Well, guess what? It is a little bit of that chess match where they knew that we knew that we were going to run the ball. So they stepped it up. Not at first, but they stepped up. Basically, their adjustments were better than ours. It happens sometimes. Hey, Red Wings won. Who'd they play? I didn't even know they played today. They have a West Coast game today. Today was all about football, Steve. I watched football from 1. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. I don't got the ticket. I do have Red Zone. I had that on for fantasy. But my God, did they give us today? I hope next Sunday is better. You're talking about the Maple Leafs win. Yeah, it was a nice win. I watched the Dallas game. It was okay. I watched the Jets in the morning. God, that was so poorly coached nonsense. I watched Dallas at 1. It got good at times. But Dallas and Panthers, seriously? And then you had the Browns. The Browns game was on. I was like, Jesus. The football that they let us air today was gross. Not thrilling. Did you guys enjoy it? So the 8 o'clock game was tough. But Dak Prescott was looking good. But I think Aaron Glenn might have made a mistake letting Aaron Rodgers go. The New York media will make that a narrative. The Lions lose today. They're dropped their record to 4-2, a little bit marred by the fight. Thank you guys for the 75 minutes to listen in. Almost 1,000 people on a Monday morning. That means you guys are up there. You're active. I love it. You're a night owl like me. Hopefully you liked the post-game talk, kind of clear your head a little bit. Remember, you can always watch the show passively. You can go back and rewind it all the way tonight, tomorrow. We'll break it down further, maybe even tomorrow. Yeah. Huh. That's a good one. Yes, I do. As the role that he was in with the Lions. Listen, I knew that was coming. And Jay Meltz, I'm proud of you for doing that. Good. You're listening. You're paying attention. The Lions felt like he was great. He was on the staff. To be the OC, well, maybe I was a little bit premature. But listen, we all like the kid in the candy store. We all like what's on the opposite side. It'll get better with Tanner. He's going through the lumps. And he picked wrong. That's not a good sign. If you okay Justin Fields, there's something wrong. But Tanner was in the system. He came from Detroit. So he's one of our own. Do I want him? I want him here in the ear of John Morton to kind of be like, be more aggressive, throw the ball deep. Let's do some stuff. Guys, did you notice that the trick plays kind of were similar than, other than the motion one? The Chiefs had the answers. They weren't that explosive. Got a first down here or there. They tried it too. They weren't that great. The more offensive minds, the better. You're slick. I like that. I respect that. Call me out. That's good. Now, I didn't say, now, I have to remember too, because I'm writing so much stuff. I wrote in a column that said, did the Lions let the next offensive genius out the door? I did say, I formulated my thoughts. And then at the end, I said, Morton will be okay. He just has to be continuously innovative and not fall behind the times. And then a bunch of other stuff too. But good question. Proud of you. I like it. Week 1 is a dirty liar. It sure is. Doc overreact? What? But you have to react. That's the job. My job as a podcaster is to react to the moment at hand. But also, I said, it could be this, could be that. It is week 1. I did say that. Listen. If Dan Campbell hired the man, so if he's on the staff, he has something to the table. But the big chair is the big chair. It's a whole different animal, especially in New York. All right. Tomorrow, I think I'll come back. My voice is strong. I feel good. Feeling confident. I have 1,000 people in here. Wow, that's really nice. Please just like it. Comment on your reaction. How concerned are you? Are you concerned about the secondary going up against the Bucks and Brian Branch? Do you miss Terrion? Brian Branch, did he make an epic mistake? Is he too undisciplined? Is he? Dan Campbell said inexcusable was the word. Inexcusable. You can find me at Detroit Podcast. You can reach out. You can direct message me, good or bad. If you find me unsufferable or insufferable, if you find me revolting, tell me why. You talk about yourself too much. You are an arrogant fool. Let me know. We'll have a discussion because it's not really the truth. Arrogant moments. And plus, you know that I said something to bother you. But really, I would like it if we stuck to, if I say something you don't like, why is the take that I had wrong? Because in the end, it's just, if you sling mud at me, I'm just going to sling mud at you. And it's just two people slinging mud at each other. The last 2 minutes here is funny. The funny part is when they go, Crunch Time should ban this guy from coming on the show. It's so far dumb that in a year and a half, they went from like 4,000, 5,000 to 16,000. Not solely off of me, but a lot of tweets, a lot of support, a lot of help from all the guests. So they're not going to cut me off. They literally enjoy letting me talk because it gives them a chance to relax because they're on the air so much. Figure it out. I'm not going anywhere. They like insiders. And the funny part was the comments that said, and this is the last thing I'll humble brag about. They say, you're going to get humbled in this media business. Guys, the reason I can act that way is I own Detroit Sports Podcast. Me and my cousin started it. We are the sole owners. We can run it however we want. We can have ONSI as a partner for the last 7 years, or we cannot. We are fine. We are fine. I'm as good a business person as I am a podcaster. So the reason I can act that way and say whatever I want into the camera is I'm the boss. I am the boss. It's fun. And I recommend everybody be the boss of a sports company. It's very fun. But this is the end of the time for me. I don't want to keep going and talking about myself. Jay Meltz, a shout out to you. Fields is ruining careers. Shout out to Jay Meltz, Nick P, See the Man, Steve Chimenti, the legend, Scarecrow. I appreciate you guys checking in. Corey Patterson, Mr. Poole, those of you that left a super chat. Remember, Detroit Sports Podcast is Doc. Doc is Detroit Sports Podcast. Detroit Sports Podcast partners with whoever wants to have a great relationship. And everybody that's had a relationship with us has been very happy because all the partners have never left. Never. Oh, is that wild? If I'm so insufferable, every partner we've had has stuck around. And ONSI is the best one by far. Amazing group of people. We all like being inside hers, Doc. I think you like the laughs. I think you know behind all the nonsense and theatrics is just a regular sports fan that rides the emotion with all of you. Booner, Andrew Jones, 360 Smooth, Demetrius got in an hour ago. Tigers fans are feeling the pain. Oh, you had to bring up the Tigers, bro. Tigers. Well, I'll say this. No, you didn't. If you listen to the doc, I told you detach. If you listen to Doc and Jock at Detroit Podcast, we all told you that deadline was ass and Scott Harris ruined the team. I didn't care. ZZ Lions gets in. I got a feeling BB won't be on the team going forward. Man, I don't know. You guys are just kind of putting that out there. Trade him, not be on the team. He's got talent. I think he will, but he's got to tone it down. All right. These are the things I want you to comment on. If you listen to the 90 minutes, I gave you 10 more minutes. I had more energy. What's your reaction to the loss? How concerned are you? Brian Branch. Do you want him still on the team? Do you appreciate Terrion more because of this loss? Thank you guys humbly. Let's go. Get some sleep. We'll have more content starting at 6 or 7 tomorrow. I'm going to listen to do more, type more, read more, check out all these videos. Thank you kindly for your support. At Detroit Podcast is where you can find me. That's where Detroit Sports Podcast is. Reminder, Detroit Sports Podcast is me. I'm Detroit Sports Podcast. I'm the Lone Wolf. I'm the Doc. I'm John Macaroon. It's all the same. John, Doc, Detroit Sports Podcast, Lone Wolf. Answer the questions. It's all me. I'm just creating more and more names, more and more pseudonames, so that when I write my book, it'll be the Detroit Sports Podcast presents to you the Lone Wolf Podcast, sponsored by On SI. Here he is, John, the Doc Macaroon. It's good. 30-17 loss. Sucks. Stings. But there's a lot to break down, a lot to learn from, and we'll learn a lot more over the next 24 hours. If you have any questions at Detroit Podcast, message directly, like. The free way to support is like, and just tell one other person. If 1,000 people say, hey, there's a nice guy that really loves sports that can talk about it and be somewhat entertaining, somewhat infuriating, and somewhat performative, hit me up. Let me know. We'll have a conversation. You'll always hear from me. I'm the Doc John Macaroon. I can't wait. We'll talk again probably tomorrow. Peace and love.